Not your average tabletop. Woohoo!
Welcome to Not Your Average Tabletop. I'm Zach,
And I'm Pepper.
and today we're back with another episode of Take My Money, where we look at some crowdfunding campaigns going on right now relating to board games. And this week we got a mix of some game found projects and some Kickstarters. And there's a couple that I'm a little bit more interested in, I would
It,
say.
this was a pretty interested week for me.
Hmm.
We've been doing pretty good, but we might go in on a couple of these, I'm thinking.
Hmm.
Eventually down the
I-
line.
Interesting. I wasn't aware you were so wanting of Shem Phillips' newest game.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
when we get there, we'll talk about it some more. Yeah, let us know in the comments below what Kickstarters or Game Found projects you're backing, or if you're looking forward to any that are coming out soon. And yeah, we'd love to hear it. But right off the bat, we're starting with this Meeple Inc. one,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's doing pretty well. It's got 11, almost 1,200 backers, 133 pounds, euros, whatever that is, and about 4 days to go. Uh,
Yep, yep.
yeah, when I saw this one, it very much made me immediately think, "Oh, is this a worker placement game?" Because when I hear Meeple, that's what I kind of think,
Yep.
and it actually was worker placement.
Yeah,
So,
look at that board, all those different worker placement spots. Which initially I'm like, that's kind of a busy board. I would
mhm,
say a little bit. But yeah, then looking at the components, and I see this little wooden shelf where you're putting all these kind of Easter egg versions of games on the shelf. I, I was drawn in by that significantly. So that's very cute, very meta.
mhm.
'Cause the game is about designing board games and
Yeah, yeah,
publishing them, and it is a board game itself. I like it.
yeah. I think when I heard the title, I was probably more interested than what I ended up being once I saw it. I mean, I think there's still some interesting things, and individually, I like a lot of the components, but for some reason, like you said, I think it was almost a little bit busy and not really choosing what kind of components it wanted to have. I don't know, it
Uh,
just was something about kind of having, well, depending on if you get the upgraded or what you
yeah,
get,
true.
kind of some of the metal trophies, some metal pairs, and then you
Acrylic
have acrylic
standees,
stands, and then you have some wooden meeples.
wooden things. Yeah,
Yeah, so it was just kind of a little bit too much of a mishmash, I thought, for me,
yeah,
along with the busyness of the board. But uh, I think this one could still be a solid game. I think this is one I would probably wait a little bit on to hopefully get maybe after the fact if it does well. But yeah,
yeah,
I do like the meta-ness of it, creating a board game in a board game. But
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So it's I don't know what level. I'd want to go in on the deluxe because that you do get kind of cardboard shelves with that, but I'd like the wooden shelves and upgraded kind of that table that you're working on your games. So then that would
Mhm.
bring it up to 69 of whatever currency that is, which is probably going to be like $70 or something, $80, or else just the base game for 45 of that currency, or an all-in with some expansions, which I had to look in a little more as to what all they add, if that feels worth it. But yeah, I think I'm
Right.
probably going to wait on this to find out what, because we have so many worker placement games that even
No.
though the
Yep.
theme is great and a lot of the components are cool looking, just to see kind of what level of game it is. If
Mhm.
it's going to be a lighter game, I think they said it's like a medium uh,
Right.
euro. So I'm not sure if that's going to feel heavier or maybe too light, possibly.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes it's hard to really tell. He can say that, but yeah, then it might end up being kind of your definitions of things might not mix exactly with what they're thinking. Not
Yeah,
not saying that that means what they're saying is a lie or anything, but just that um, the definitions might be slightly different. Yeah. So I think I agree with that. Where I'd be kind of interested to see if it feels a little bit too light, maybe, but not
yeah,
sure. But then, yeah, it's supposed to deliver next March, so about a year away. So hopefully that'll be a doable amount of time. and then the shipping is anywhere from $10 to $20 depending on how much you back.
Yeah.
So that's been pretty typical, I think, of a lot of Kickstarters for shipping costs anyway.
Yeah. So wait and see what the thoughts are on this one.
Yeah.
And a game that has been around a while. It's kind of another one of these. We see it so often now, bringing these kind of ancient games and doing a little modern take on it. This is the Royal Game. So this is kind of an abstract game inspired by archaeological discoveries. So they played this way back when, and now you can play it yourself. This has got a week to go, over 1,000 backers, which might be kind of surprising to me that it's doing pretty well. 46,000. But yeah, these are kind of universal projects. I think they kind of appeal to everyone because it
Right.
is just a smaller something you can put on the coffee table. Kind of feels like.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And yeah, I think I'd heard of this one before. I think there was like some YouTube video or something going around once, or someone was talking about like some older guy was talking about this game, this Royal Game, and from what I saw of it, I was like, I don't know if that's quite maybe stood the test of time, but it sounds like they did some changes on one side of the board so you could play it how it was
Yeah.
originally played,
Yep.
and some
So you
changes. But I still wasn't 100% sure if that actually was going to feel like a modern game or not.
Yeah, so what I got from kind of the new version, you roll the dice, and depending on what you roll, you can either move your pieces a lot or a little, or spawn more pieces on the board, and eventually take out other people's pieces. And eventually, in the modern version, you want to kind of control these 4 little flower spots on the board to win.
Mhm.
I think originally you just wanted to kind of escape all of your pieces or something like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, probably wouldn't go in on it, although the price for the base is $30. And I think
Yeah.
that's what I'd go with because a deluxe version with these dogs, I just don't feel that meshes with what the game is. I think just these little beads works, just feels right for this kind of game.
I would 100%
I don't think
agree.
it needs minis. But
No.
if you want those for maybe something else or for this, you can.
Yep.
And then you can go all in for 48 or not 48 for $69 and get this plushie. It's
How that's related?
ridiculous the amount of plushies as they had back then. They had their own plushies to go with the game.
Exactly. 100%. They used to have that. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure there are people that will like this one. It looks like this one's also delivering March of next year. Um, I'm sure if this, yeah, sounds interesting to you, it'll be kind of the game for you.
Yeah.
And then yeah, looks like another $10 to $20 of shipping potentially, which
Yeah.
then is kind of getting up there a little bit more. But overall, I mean, it's not. I'm trying to think of what like some of these classic games sell for nowadays, like backgammon or
Yeah. I mean, it all
chess or
depends kind of because there can be so many deluxeified versions of those, but
yeah.
say $30 is all right. It's a little much, I think, for what it is. But if you do play it a lot, that's coming from my perspective where we don't really play these games very often. So
Mhm. Yeah,
if this is your jam, then be a good one.
that is true.
On to another one, adding more to an existing game, Ostia, which I always think of as Oath. I mix it up with Oath. I don't know if the art or the font is similar.
Yeah,
So
the
it's
O
like
might be similar. I don't remember, but
I think the O might be similar. But this is an expansion to Ostia, so I think I never actually gave Ostia or Ostia, however it's pronounced, the attention it deserves. Because once I looked at kind of how it played, and I think you had been interested in it for a while, it's got a Mancala aspect to it, and then I'm immediately thinking we got to get this game. So I love any game with that in it.
yeah,
Five Tribes has a little bit of it. Crusaders.
it made me
I
think a
love.
little bit more of Crusaders maybe
Yeah,
than Five
yeah,
Tribes, but yeah, I really love that in both of those games. And this was
seemed
one I
very
think that Mike had brought up. I think he's probably the reason why this one's doing so well. But
I
I think
think
there's
so.
also some other reasons as well, which are also maybe related to the Dice Tower. But yeah, this one's doing quite well. Still
Yeah,
got a little
it's got
time to go.
262,000, over 3,000 backers. But yeah, this one adds a few different module expansions, I think,
You know,
that you can put into it. One of them's pirates, otherwise buildings that you can build, or a city of Ostia that you can build your buildings in.
mhm,
But obviously the name is pirates, so I'm guessing that might be the biggest or the showcase module that you do play with in this
mhm.
one. Uh,
Yeah, I think so.
yeah,
And yeah, this was uh, I'd probably have just gone with like the so spoiler. I did back this.
you did
Uh,
back. Okay, good,
I did back.
good. I was excited for this one.
And yeah, seeing the boats and stuff, I was really excited about this expansion. I think I listened to Sam Healy though, rating kind of the base game and the expansion, and it sounds like the expansion adds a decent amount of time onto the game. But
Oh,
he's like, he wasn't really sure if it was maybe worth the time that it added, but it was still had good stuff. I think there was some parts of it, some of the module pieces that he said he probably wouldn't use. I don't know if there was like disasters or something.
oh, yeah.
But overall, I think he liked it. It just said it might add some time. So I was like, I really like the look of these pirate ships, so I'm gonna get it
I
anyway.
I love
Uh,
those pirate ships.
but yeah, I was definitely going to be backing the base game for sure. And then yeah, I just figured I'd get that as well. I think it
Yeah,
looks like it's going to be a game that hopefully we'll enjoy quite a bit.
yeah, yeah.
And
'Cause it, it
yeah,
it had me pretty hooked. I was hoping this would be one. I didn't know that you backed it already, so I'm happy to hear that because I was really looking forward to playing this.
I did. I even did what all the people have been making comments about these campaigns with a pre pledge $1 pledge. This was one of the guilty offenders that had a $1
Oh,
pledge ahead of time. Uh, I actually did do that, so I was pledged very early on this one, like the first day. So yeah, this was one that I knew I wanted for sure. But now the question is, as we keep scrolling, because I think there's a lot of stuff on this page, if I remember right. And the other reason why I think this might be doing so well is the some add-ons that you can choose. So yeah, all
ooh,
this stuff looks really good. I don't remember. Was that the shipping
oh,
table up there?
oh yeah, yeah. So shipping, depending on what you get, I mean, it doesn't increase that much from 18 to 23 bucks. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, depending on what you add on, possibly that
Yeah,
might
that's what I wasn't
increase it.
sure if it. I guess I haven't looked that closely because I haven't really decided what I was going to add on. But I'm assuming if I add things on, it'll increase that. But
Yeah, yeah.
maybe it'll stay at that as a maximum. But I doubt it.
So you got all the
Um,
Ostia stuff, the different expansions and deluxifications, and then you have a bunch of their other games.
yep.
Sapporo, which I don't know anything about.
Yeah, I tried to look at that one. That was probably the one out of these that I was the least
Oh,
interested
okay,
in.
okay.
But it looked like it could still possibly be good. I just was looking at some of the prices of some of these, and I was interested in the other ones more. So
Yeah,
that was just kind of the oddball out. Was interested in
biohack.
Biohack when it was actually on Kickstarter, and if you're still watching at this point, hopefully, I would definitely back this one if you can, because I don't think they had a late pledge for Biohack. So I don't know if this
Oh,
company
okay.
does like late pledges outside of people that have at least
Oh,
pledged
yeah.
for something. So just note that. I believe that's the case unless they changed since that one. Just note
Yeah.
that. So haven't decided if I'm going to get Biohack, and then the other one, Aqua Garden. I think that's probably outside of Ostia the other big one that a lot of people are interested in because I think this one's also been very hard to get. And
Yeah.
yeah, I've been interested in that one, but as you can see there, worst part is there's all these little small expansions that
Yeah,
are
it's like,
all
oh,
$11 a piece.
good price, good price.
And pretty soon you're spending $150 for a game. It's like I don't know if it's $150 game, but
Yeah,
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 that's the only tough part. I kind of wish that it could all be in either a big bundle or yeah, I don't
yeah,
know. I don't know. I don't know how many. I didn't look that closely, like I said,
yeah,
yet.
yeah.
So
So we'll have
hopefully,
to do our research. figure out everything to possibly add on here. And if they're going to be hard to get, we can just sell them we can make a buck. I like this list here where it kind of tells you everything, check X, or what's in each pledge. They should always have it. Although some of these projects, they get so complicated.
That's true. They have too many things.
It'd just be a huge sheet.
That is true. That's true.
On to Etherstone. There's some huge names for designers, which I'm not going to attempt to pronounce. You can read them right there, and I forget what games they've done. I forget what games they've done. I mix them up with. There's a few duos of designers and mix them together.
I mix them together too. I don't think this is the T series of game people, but it's the other group that do a lot of the. What are they? Totally blanking, but usually heavy Euros, I think, is what they tend to do.
Which this does not feel like a heavy Euro.
No, I 100% agree.
So all these backers are being fooled. They're just backing it based on the name, all 2,400, 160,000 worth. And it's just kind of a card game, which feels similar to a lot of things where you're playing out different cards, kind of building an engine. I don't know if you're really attacking in this one.
No.
I don't think.
Isn't it like a kind of not combined enemy, but kind of the same? I don't think you're necessarily attacking each other in the game. It's more of you can take damage, but facing Face the Void. I didn't remember exactly, but when I saw the designers, I was like, oh, this could be maybe a really kind of heavy thinky card game. And then I think I watched some of it played, and I was like, I don't know that. I mean, there's some interesting parts to it, but I wasn't 100% sure. So you're kind of drafting the dice to do get some resources. It seems simple. It seems like a simple one, which is good.
Yeah, I like the dice because you kind of play your cards out there, and then when you draft the dice, you get resources of that dice color, and then you activate the cards that would be triggered by that dice. So some of the cards will trigger with like a red die when you take it. Some will trigger if the value is 2 to 3 or 3 to 4. So if you get a red 3, you can trigger all 3 of those cards that you have, at least from my understanding. And that seemed pretty cool to me.
Yeah, I would agree. I think this is one of those that I think I'd actually have to play to really feel out. Because part of me in my head is thinking like, I don't know that this would end up feeling that interesting. I know like one of the end game triggers is because you can, I think your first few games you can kind of have like a set hand of cards or whatever, but then after that you can like draft them. And then kind of one of the end game things I think is to play all 7 of your cards, which doesn't seem like all that many cards, and so I didn't know if it would feel. I guess I didn't fully understand how you were getting points and stuff, so I don't know if that means like if you're the first one to do it, you automatically win or something. But it just kind of I was like, will it feel like a race? That was the only thing that.
I
think it's hard to do.
It's
Is it easy to do an engine builder with a race aspect?
I don't know.
Are they as satisfying?
It's hard to get it to be the right end point, I think, in that, because once you get going, you want to keep going because you just built this great engine. Sometimes they can end a little early, I think. I think it's important to find the right point to actually finish the game in an engine build. Finish the story. Years too late. I like the look of it. I like the artwork.
No, I like the artwork.
Obviously, have a great history of games, so should be competent at least, I would think.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, if someone offered to play this with me, I would definitely try it out because I don't think that it'll be that long of a game, which is always nice.
$33 for the base game. Otherwise, you can go deluxe with wooden components, metal coins, which is pretty nice upgrades. That brings it up to $61, which is still not that high. But it is primarily a card game. And you can go a bunch of
get those play mats with the card play
mats, dice trays for $99. Still under $100, so that's pretty good.
Until you add shipping.
Gonna be another $10 to $20.
And
probably.
this one's estimated
Not too
to
long.
deliver in February of 25, so about a year out as well. I think Ostia was supposed to be soon. I think that was before the end of the year, supposedly. November
November. Yeah.
24, so it's supposed to be a quick turnaround. We'll see.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And oh boy. Flashpoint Legacy of Flame. I've actually been interested in the Flashpoint series for a
yeah.
while. I've heard good things about it, and it's kind of like I just think of it as Pandemic, but fighting fires. And I think that's kind of what it is. I haven't looked too close on gameplay, but now we get Pandemic Legacy fighting fires. 2,000 backers, almost $200,000,
Week to
and
go.
I think that is the selling point of this is a legacy mode for this cooperative game. If you played it, if I were to get the game, I'd probably enter at this point and get the legacy version just to have that in there as well. Have a story. I guess I
Mhm.
haven't looked at the designers of this, so I don't
Yeah, I don't remember
know
who they were.
if it's bringing anyone new to it that has history in legacy design. So I'm not sure about that. That would be something to check.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, but have you even heard of Flashpoint yet? Sounds like it's pretty new to you.
I think if I remember, I think Will Wheaton's tabletop had a gameplay of it, but I would have been a long time ago now. I I feel like I've heard of it, but yeah, I don't know that I ever looked into it too much because I think at that point, uh, we hadn't really played many cooperative games, if any, at that point, and that was just something that I wasn't, I think, as interested in. So this was probably quite early on in the board gaming career, so I don't think I've looked at it kind of since, but
Yeah,
yeah, from
yeah,
my understanding of it, it seemed very much like a pandemic style of game.
yeah, yeah. So you can get the just this legacy for $60, this legacy and the base game for $90, this legacy, and then I think there's like a spiral book of maps, so you can get the cardboard maps and some neoprene boards for $129. You can get the legacy version with all the previous base games expansions for $179. So I assume they're compatible, but maybe they're not. Maybe that's just if you have the base game, that's all you got. Or you can, if you have nothing, you want the base game, all the expansions, and the legacy, $209. Or you can add on any of those individually. Which
That's true. I don't know how
there's a
easily
lot.
available this stuff is and stuff, so yeah, if you're a big fan of it, maybe you can get some of these expansions
Gotta get the
if you're interested
rescue
in them.
dogs. Come on.
That's true. That's the one you got to back.
It's like the
Maybe
cheapest
five
one
copies of
too.
it.
They don't know what they're doing. That's like the cheapest one. They could have made that $70 and people would still get it. People love dogs.
That's a fair point. They do love dogs.
And
But yeah,
shipping
I think this
is at
was
least 20 the
yeah, that
minimum.
was the part that kind of I think got me off of it because I was like, it's not too bad of a base price because I don't think that I would get the other stuff, at least not right now, and
Yep.
hope that I could maybe get the base game afterwards if I really really liked it.
That's gonna be
But
90
then
bucks. Yeah.
79, $80.
Oh yeah, $80. Yeah.
So
Yeah, it'd be a
that's
bit.
getting up there, but I mean, to be fair, like the Clank Legacy and stuff are right up there in price too. So
Yeah. Yeah. And
it
I
could
mean this
definitely be. It
is
depends how good the writing and stuff is in it.
yeah.
I'm assuming there's some story mode and stuff. So
Yeah. Yeah. So
I'm not opposed to it. Don't have any with this theme. So
yeah. Yeah. So
games.
I think there's some unique themes today as well.
Yeah,
This
I
is
would
one of them.
agree.
On to another one, baseball. I don't think we have any baseball themed games,
We
and
do not.
this one has been on my radar for probably like at least 5 years. This is an older game, and I think Tom Vassell or someone really liked it. It's a deck building game, and you're pretty much simulating a baseball game and playing your cards to either to get singles, doubles, triples, home runs, and the other player is also playing cards to kind of cancel out your hits and your runners. And it's a weird kind of simultaneous type of thing, or maybe you get a little information of what they play and then you play a card. it's kind of weird that how you're interacting. I don't quite have a grasp of it, but I like the theme. It's unique, although it's kind of futuristic and cyborg. That's a weird addition, I think.
Yeah.
To be like one of the few baseball games that is out there, to not just be pure baseball. It's cyborg, futuristic baseball.
Yeah. I suppose then they don't have to use like real players and stuff. But yeah, I think that's probably been the part that has made it so I haven't really been that interested in the game. But yeah, as I was looking at it here, I was like, you know what? That actually sounds more interesting than I had originally thought. I'd be much more interested in getting it now than I had originally thought. But yeah, I would say I'm not really that interested in the cyborg aspect of it or robot or whatever they are at that point. But um, I like the idea of kind of going back and forth and playing cards and stuff, offensive plays and defensive plays. I think that could be pretty cool. Maybe a little bit possibly wacky.
Maybe a little.
I think I'm fine with in this type of game.
Yeah. It sounds like this is just kind of bringing all past expansions and things into one big definitive version of the game, which, since it is a little older, or at least I've known of it for a while, I was hoping that maybe, obviously, I don't know the game. I don't know if it feels old or if it feels maybe not quite as modern as some other deck building games. So I was hoping to maybe see refreshed gameplay. Maybe it doesn't need refreshing, but just the fact that it's kind of feels like they're just putting everything together with a few new things. I would, not that I wouldn't think it needs fixing, but if I heard that they fixed certain things in the game, that'd make me a little more likely to get it, possibly. Like I said, I have no clue. It probably doesn't need fixing.
Yeah, that's true. It depends how good of a game it was right off the bat. $48 doesn't seem like too bad.
That was another thing. The price was pretty good, because that's
especially for Eagle Griffin, because their games are usually really expensive.
Yes.
And this is another March delivery. It seems like all of them are delivering around that same time, so they're all going to be on the same ship.
Yeah. Ooh, you can get custom running meeples. I like those. I like those better than the pawns. That's for sure.
That's true. And it kind of lets you know which ones.
Only 10 bucks as well.
Yeah.
So
that's how they get you.
That is how they get you. But yeah, I'm pretty interested in this one. I don't know if, because I think it's just going to be that one version. I don't know. Does Eagle Griffin, are they usually available pretty easily?
I think it's usually on their, they are on their site. But yeah, other than that, I don't know that I've really ever seen their games on like Miniature Market or Game Nerds or anything. Typically. But usually they have all the stuff on their site. I think they probably even have most of all of these on their site right now, assuming they're still available. I would assume they have them on their site right now. And yeah, that doesn't seem like too bad of a shipping price either. So at the end of the day, you're still at about $60, which isn't too bad.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I'm interested in this one. It's bringing it back to my mind, so I have to look into it.
You might have to see if it needs fixing.
Yeah, we'll see. Baseball expert Pepper here.
Exactly.
And we have Wroth from Chip Theory Games, which I was immediately going into. I'm like, another Chip Theory game, giant, impossible to understand, super heavy, complicated game. And they say, we're going away from that with this game. And this one's you can teach in 10 to 15 minutes, play in about an hour. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. This might be the definitive Chip Theory game. 4,000 backers say that exact thing. $447,000. And this one made me think a little bit of Ethnos, as you have these different areas that are assigned various victory point values that you are fighting over in kind of an area control aspect. And you roll dice and you draft them. I think you draft 2 dice. Each of your factions is unique, and you have unique actions, and I think also a die that you personally do have. But yeah, you draft the dice, and after they're rolled, and they give you various different actions to, I guess, take control of the board. And either attack or move, I assume, or summon things out on the board, and it's a race to 40 points. And I was like, okay, so it's approachable. If they're saying you can teach it in like 10 to 15 minutes, that got me very interested in this.
I will say I'm probably more interested in this one than a lot of their recent releases because, like you said, it seemed like it was much more approachable than a lot of their games. And there's something about the artwork in this one that I kind of like.
I
It is
really
a
like I
little out
really
there.
like I really like the artwork. It's very, very neon, of course. Neon
Mm,
soaked fantasy. But I like it. Kind of makes me
mhm.
think a little bit of Fall of the Mountain King,
Yeah,
slightly with some of
I
them. It
could
might
see
just
that
be
a little bit.
the characters. I don't know, but
I
yeah,
could see that.
I'm really interested in this one. And price wise, it's got $55 for that base pledge. So I guess the different versions. You got the base pledge. You got 2 additional factions, which I'm like, that's pretty big gameplay wise. But that only brings it up to 86. And these are pretty deluxe games. They're chip theory.
That's true.
Or you can go all in with some art books and metal art things and dice trays and metal components. You don't need that for 246. That's a huge increase for no gameplay that I'm understanding here. So
Right.
I'd probably go in at 86 maybe with those 2 factions. Um, but yeah, I'm pretty interested in this one. I don't know, should hopefully be available. I don't know what the prices are post campaign.
Yeah, I'm guessing there'll be a little bit more. And I'm trying to remember if I've seen Chip Theory Games stuff on. They usually have it, I think, on their website as well. I'm not sure. I've maybe seen some of their stuff on like a miniature market. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah,
So yeah, usually I think it is their stuff is available after the fact, at least on their website. But yeah, obviously, if you wanted to go all in on that kind of stuff, I don't know if that stuff will be available on their website
yeah.
later, but I think the game will. And then the $10 shipping is not too bad.
I'm tempted. I'm tempted by this. I love the look of it. The gameplay looks really fun. It's approachable. I'm interested.
I think this one will be a little higher on my list if Michaela enjoyed area control games more.
Oh yeah,
I think that's
it
the
can
only thing. She
be
doesn't love that.
cooperative as well. I think there was a mode in there. I think that was the one. Uh,
Hmm.
so solo, if you want. And then this is probably another one that you've already backed, or are definitely going to. You haven't. He's off the Shem train. Inventors of the South Tigris. Another South Tigris game. I lose interest. They're just not for me. They're heavier than these Garfield games have ever been before, and they're killing my beloved dice along with it.
Wow,
Get
wow,
me
wow.
excited with dice in this trilogy, and it's just not quite what I want to use them for. I want to chuck them. And you don't really do that. Maybe you do in this one. I haven't looked too closely. My mind's made up. Your mind's made up. You're going to get it. We're going to play it. You're going to love it. I'm going to be like, there's some good things, but it's not for me.
All that is probably true and fair, but it's doing very well as all of their games do. This one I know will well, I shouldn't say for sure, but I'm about 99% confident that this will be available after the fact.
Yeah.
The only big thing about backing it now would be to kind of support them more kind of straight up and to I think they have a few promo cards and stuff that you can get. So if you haven't gotten those or the ones for the original South Tigris games, I think they have those as well. So if you
Yeah.
want those things, I think then you can back this. I think this will probably end up being a little bit more than what you can get it at for real retail later on.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
they usually get to retail pretty quickly after they deliver, a few months after that, it seems like. So, and they're usually really, really good at also getting their campaigns shipped and stuff to
Yeah.
you a little bit earlier. It seems, at least I've had that experience. I shouldn't say everyone, but it seems like I've had the experience where a lot of their games will get here a month or two before uh, kind of their projected ones on these pages. But yeah, this one, I think you're right. I think it's going to be even heavier. It is a little bit unfortunate. I was hoping that maybe some of theirs would have a little bit more rolling of dice. Um, I mean, even when I think of one of Shem's games with the most dice in it, Noctiluca, there's not that much rolling of those dice either, just the initial roll. So
Yeah.
it is a little bit unfortunate, but I think that this one could be pretty good. I like the idea of the inventing, where you're kind of, I think, like drawing up the blueprints and then kind of testing out and then patenting your kind of invention and stuff. And you can kind of, I think, do different steps of that. You don't necessarily have to take
Yeah,
it all
yeah.
yourself. So
Someone
there's kind
comes
of,
up with the idea, you test it, someone else publishes. So it's not your responsibility. I like that.
yeah,
And they kind
I
of
do
had that
feel
a
like
little bit in whatever the previous one, Scholars,
scholar.
where you kind of worked together slightly and used other people's homework a little bit to translate the scripts. So,
Yep. I think that has been one thing with these recent ones. I think there's been a little bit more of a, still not like a ton of interaction, but a little bit more interaction than a lot of their games. I feel like there's not usually much interaction in their games. It's a lot of multiplayer solo, as people say.
yeah,
But yeah, I really like the look of this one. I think this kind of South Tigris world that the Miko's created, I really like the artwork that they've had in them. I
yeah,
really like the artwork on pretty much
yeah,
all of the Garfield games. It's probably why I kind of correlate those two things together.
yeah.
And whenever I see his artwork on any other game, I kind of am like, huh, well, this has to be a medium to
Gotta
heavyweight
be good.
Euro.
Yeah,
It's got to be. It can't be something else.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I have not backed this one. I think I'm going to just get it after the fact at some point.
Taking
Maybe
a
I
massive
still will. We'll
risk.
see. We'll see. But yeah, otherwise, I mean, the price isn't awful. I think you're probably
Fine.
just going to be paying about 10 to $15 more than you can get at retail later on. So it's not
Yeah,
that massive. This will probably be a easier, quicker way to get the coins if you want metal coins. So you've
yeah,
got that option of adding those on. I think their coins are always really awesome. I've gotten these ones for the uh, other two games, so that's good. This is another one, kind of like that one, where if you do want to get in on it, they do not have a late pledge. I
yeah,
think that's how they kind of keep it to where they keep their campaign on time. They don't just open their pledge manager and let it sit out there for months and months, not
yeah,
knowing how many games they
yeah,
need and
yeah,
stuff. So they just like to be efficient with theirs. And they've been very successful with that. So,
yeah, yep, yeah. They have definitely delivered in the
mhm,
past. So this will be one. And if you want more on the gameplay, it's like a 6-minute video here. I remember Scholars, they went into like all the little details. I think the brothers Murph are
mhm.
doing these, and so I didn't watch the whole thing here. But if you want a really pretty in-depth little description of how the game is played, I would watch that video to see if you're interested. But if you know
Mhm.
these games, you know if it's going to be for you or not.
Yeah, that's just it. I'm gonna get this one at some point. It just probably won't be backing it here, but
Yeah,
I'm sure I'll get it shortly after
yeah,
that
yeah,
starts delivering. So yeah, those are the games we're looking at this week. Let us know in the comments below which ones you're interested in. I know I've got a couple for sure that be getting at some point. But yeah, it's an exciting week for sure. But otherwise, we hope to see you on our future videos. And as always, don't forget to keep on nibbling on our content.